Niha, Xiao. This is Matthew at freeprescriptionlenses.com, and if it's okay with you, I'm going to use the English for the rest of this video. But I'm going to cut prescription lenses for your RayBan 5154, color 2000, the 49 eye size, and of course the 5154 is the Clubmaster. The Clubmaster. Pull this out, and of course, a little plastic sleeve they put on your left temple to prevent the temples from rubbing together during shipping. And your RayBan cleaning cloth that was folded up on the inside there. Let's put all this over here. Of course, this is your frame, color 2000, which is the shiny black. And I'm going to pop out these demo lenses, and we're going to trace. Come on out of there, come on out of there. And you're going to get all the original manufacturer's packaging, don't you worry. But I'm going to put your frame into my $30,000 Santanelli edger. This is the LE1000. And I'm going to trace the shape of the left side of your frame. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. But you buy a genuine, authentic RayBan frame and you will receive free, clear, single vision prescription lenses. Your frame pupillary distance, as it is known, is, I'm getting 70, well 69 and a half. So I'm going to pull up the shape on the computer. Program that in there. Your pupillary distance is 67. So let me program that into the computer. We're at 67 there. These are high index lenses. Let me pull that up. High index plastic, that's what HPL stands for. And I'm going to cut them on the soft cycle because of the anti-glare coating, and this has been cut for a metal frame. So let me begin. Your right eye is minus 675. So that's what we have there, minus 675. And these are the Transition Signature 7 gray lenses, and that is Crizal Avance. And these are aspheric lenses, which I'll explain in a little bit. But for now, let me pop these out. These are your lenses before I begin. I'm going to put them in my Marco 101 lensometer to put the power drum on minus 675. Put your lens in, find the optical center. And then I want to put a dot on the middle of the lens. This is too light for you to see, so I'm going to darken that for you. And this is the right lens. Let me put an R on there for right. Now let me do the same thing for your left lens, which is minus 7 1/4, minus 7 1/4. Take it out of its protective sleeve. It has a little laminate on the front of the lens to prevent any scratching during shipping. And this is minus 7 1/4. And I'm just going to find the center of the lens. We're good to go. I'm going to put a dot on that lens as well. Do want to check one thing. Come on, where's 0? Where's 0? There we go. Yep, just as I thought. Someone has moved the prism ring. Let me move that dot again. I'm going to find the optical center. I want to be dead center in your lenses. So, let me put some more ink in my lensometer too. Okay, so let me put the prism ring back on 0. There we are. Let me take the right lens, put it on minus 675. Sorry, quality control here. Quality control. There we go. And let me darken that. Put a big red dot. Where is a pen that will write? Here's one. I've got one right here. Put a dot right there. And that is your right lens. This doesn't want to write either. That Crizal anti-glare coating is so good. There we go. Now that's the right lens. I'm going to keep this pen for a second. Minus 7 1/4. Let me put this in. Find the optical center. Put a dot on that lens too. I can put it on this side. There we go. And that is the left lens. So I'll put an L on there. Now I'm going to take your right lens. This is a blocker. What I'm looking into, essentially just like the crosshairs of a scope, I have a vertical meridian and a horizontal one, and I want to put that red dot dead center. Now this is a block. This is what's going to hold your lens in place while it is cutting, so I need to attach a double-sided adhesive sticker. And 3M, the same people who make post-it notes, make double-sided adhesive stickers. The black side is the sticky side, so I'm going to stick that onto the block, pull the tape away, get everything lined up perfectly. Do the same thing for the left lens now. Put that on there, pull the tape away, and get everything lined up perfect. Now, your anti-glare coating makes your lens a little bit more slippery while cutting, so I want to put another sticker on the back surface of the lens to prevent any slippage. And I'm going to put your lens into the chuck, or as I say, the Charles, because I don't know the machine well enough to call it chuck. But the clamp's going to close, and this caliper is going to come down, and it's actually going to trace the shape of the right side of your frame, starting with the rear surface first, which is the concave side of the lens closest to your eyelashes. Then it's going to move forward and trace the convex front surface of the lens, all the while measuring the thickness of the lens all the way around to know exactly where to place the bevel so it fits best inside the frame. The actual cutting wheel is down here on the bottom left. That's going to grind away your lens material until it's the final size, and then this wheel in the center with that little, and this is interesting, see how the water's spraying? I cut a lot with polycarbonate, but high index cuts wet. And I will have to close the door in just a moment. But your lenses are made out of the high index 1.67 material. They are aspheric, which means not round spherical. It's just that much flatter. It gives you a much better finished cosmetic appearance. You don't have a round bulging lens like that. But these are the Transitions brand gray lenses with Crizal Avance. Your lenses are extremely high impact resistant and have both UVA and UVB protection built into the lens. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin from overexposure, where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. And I wish you could smell this. High index has a sulfur type of smell while it is cutting. And it actually smells extremely strong. It actually has sulfur in the lens, and it smells a little bit like rotten eggs. I've gotten used to it. It freaks out other people. Now, I have a little trap underneath that collects the optical sawdust, and I have to empty it out every time in between each high index lens, because it's actually a very gummy substance. This material, when it's cut away, will clog a lot of filters. So if you notice, your lens is completely flat, just like a nickel. I could take it out now and it would stand up on its edge. In just a moment it will move over and have the bevel cut into the lens. Now it's moving over. If you notice, your lens is flat, but not for long. It's getting the knife-like edge, and hopefully I wasn't too close. Let me wipe off any spray that got on the lens there. So as soon as these are done, I'll get these shipped to you in Houghton, Michigan, or is it Houghton, Michigan? One of the two. Okay, I think it's done. So, there's 2 things I want to do before I try and get it mounted into your frame. First of which, let me go ahead and dry your lenses off, so it's not slippery when I try and work on it. Now, you still have some rough edges left over from the cutting cycle, so I want to use my hand stone, which is completely flat. I could put my finger on it while it's running, and my fingers get warm due to the friction, but it's that friction that allows me to smooth off all those rough edges there. So let's go ahead and get this mounted into your frame. That is actually a Phillips head screwdriver. Where is my Phillips? There it is. I'm going to loosen the eye wire screw. Pop your lens in. And now tighten this down. And that is good and tight. I'm just going to check that it's in there well, and it is. So let me go ahead and start cutting the left lens. Flip that over to L and hit start. And the calipers are going to come down, but this time they're going to trace the shape of the left side of the frame, making sure the lens is large enough to fit, and it is. You can see what the thickness of the lens starts off being, and that is the finished product. Very, very thin. Just so you know, if you stick to the frame size is about 69.5, your pupillary distance is 67. If you can find a frame that is 67 and not much larger or smaller, your lens will always be thinner. Anytime you go larger, you're always going to increase your edge thickness. So by staying near 67 and somewhat round, harsh rectangles are your worst shape, because as you can see, your lenses are thin at the center and thicker at the edge. So the further you go from the center of the lens, and let me find a big rectangle. Come on, I know I got one here. Well, here's a small rectangle. But as you go away from the center of the lens, these corners would be your thickest parts of your lens. These are all donated frames for the Lions Club. But I'm going to go ahead and remove the block from your right lens. Pull the blue sticker off. And I'm going to just verify that it's the minus. Put it in over that red dot. And we are good. There we go. That checks out perfect. But your prescription reads minus 675 sphere, minus 7 1/4 sphere. So the unit of measurement we use in the optical world is called a diopter. And it goes in quarter increments starting at 0, which is also known as plano, or better yet known as non-prescription. It goes up in quarter increments, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1. You actually need 25 steps of correction for your right eye. You actually need 27 steps of correction for your left. So, is that right? That's right. Let me see. 7 times 25. No, more than that. 29 steps. Forgive me. So, you are very myopic, which means you can see up close great, but you need these to see far away. Without your glasses on, everything is much larger than it appears in real life. So when you put your lenses in, they will actually minify down to the correct size. Of course, this frame sells for $180. The transition adds $50. The anti-glare adds $40. So your combined price is around $269.98. And I forgot to empty the trap, didn't I? So let me see if I can correct that. I love the smell of rotten eggs in the evening. I was actually on a bus ride from Eilat, which is in southern Israel, up to Jerusalem, and we passed near the Red Sea, the Dead Sea, near the Dead Sea. There was these sulfur springs, and there was incredible sulfur smell. Incredible in a bad way. And whenever I cut a 1.67 lens, I just have that association of what it smelled like in Israel as we drove past all the pits of sulfur. That was years ago when I was young doing volunteer work. Now I like being paid for stuff. Although, of course, you get free prescription lenses when you buy the frames from me. So, let me dry everything off again. Back to the handstone real quick for the safety bevel. Smooth off those rough edges. Wipe away any of that optical debris. Now let's go ahead and get your left lens mounted. Use my screwdriver to loosen that side. Lefty loosey. Put the lens in, and then we're going to do some righty tighty. Alright, we are good to go there. I'm just checking the mount. Everything looks good. Now I'm going to pop this block off. And I do want to go ahead and verify that it is Although there's no way I could have cut this wrong. A 7 1/4. Did I wipe off that red dot? I did. Let me darken that for you. Now your pupillary distance is 67. So I'm going to turn my piece of paper around. I'm going to put my PD stick up on the right lens against my thumb. And on the left lens we are getting 67 millimeters, so that is cut perfectly. I also like to take this time while I'm cleaning your lenses to remind everyone that when you get these in the mail, if they're too loose or they're too tight, or more realistically, one side sits higher than the other, that's because 80% of people have one ear that's higher than the other, and I'm no exception. I'll show you in just a moment. But you may have to, 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them, so stop by your local place. If these don't fit perfect, and they'll get them adjusted. It only takes about 30 seconds to a minute, but I'm going to get them in standard alignment, also known as a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set it on the counter. There is no wobble. When I say wobble, I have one ear that's higher than the other, so when I press on mine, there's clearly a wobble on the table, but not on me. So I flip them over. There is no wobble. I make sure that each temple overlaps perfectly, and they do. Now these are your lenses. While they're still clear, I'm going to go ahead and activate the transitions gray part of the lens. I'm going to expose them to a strong burst of ultraviolet light. And as you will see, it takes transition lenses about 30 to 45 seconds for them to darken. A little bit longer when you come back inside, 45 seconds to a minute 15. Now, all transition lenses, Xiao, this is important, pay attention. All transition lenses will turn dark on day 1, as you see. Give them 2 weeks. They're going to continue to darken every day for the first 2 weeks until they get to their final setting. After that, they will work for years with maximum performance. The only time they will not work is if you're in your car driving. Your windshield absorbs all the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays so your dashboard does not crack. Now, if you have a convertible or a motorcycle, they will darken. Now, they're also temperature sensitive. When it's 90 degrees and above, they just don't get as dark as they do when it's 90 and below. I remind everyone, when it's 100 degrees, you're miserable, your glasses are miserable. No one likes to work 100% when it's 100 degrees outside. Now, this is the first time they've been activated, but that's what they're going to look like. Of course, the anti-glare coating that you have eliminates glare when driving at night, particularly driving at night in the rain. But from street lights, stoplights, computer screens, overhead lights, fluorescent lights, all the above. Plus, there's the cosmetic factor that when someone's looking at you, they're not looking at their reflection in your glasses. Or if someone takes a picture with a flash, you don't see the flash lit up in the lens, you see just your eyes. So it makes for much better eye contact. So that's that. If anyone has any questions about what I can or can't do, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com or simply click the Contact Me button on the website. Xiao in Houghton, Michigan. I hope you enjoyed watching as I made your high index 1.67 transition 7 gray lenses with Crizal Avance. And everyone else has got the chance. Hang on, it's the RayBan 5154. Color 2000 and the 49 eye size. This is the Clubmaster with clear lenses. So that's that, and again, hopefully everyone else got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.